Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Monday, February 12, 2024. First, it was floods, and now residents in a small town in South Africa are facing widespread wildfires. We'll show you how it's impacting the area. And in Queensland, Australia, a proposed hydroelectric power initiative has many residents concerned. They say it could completely devastate the natural habitat and harm many species unique to the region. In the new Earth, we're learning how to practice living in abundance, even when the 3D matrix suggests otherwise. And this guy is known as the apple hunter. His efforts have saved many apple varieties from the brink of extinction.
This is Calen, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Within 5 months of devastating floods, the small town of Grabouw in the Western Cape of South Africa now faces rampant wildfires. UNN field messenger Robyn shows us the devastating effects of these fires.
Greetings everybody, this is Field Messenger Robyn reporting from Grabouw in the Western Cape. I spoke to you a few months ago and sent news of a flooding we were having, and this is what passed by with windy conditions today. Burnt big fires, the smouldering now. These are the orchards, fruit orchards. I'm standing on the railway line. This is the gate to the property, and my house is next door to that eucalyptus plantation, which was the fire came all the way up to this road here, right next to the eucalyptus plantation, so it was incredibly close by. And you can see all the firefighters are still working. You can see the fires are smoldering. Apparently the root systems of these trees will continue burning for some time yet. We're not out of the woods. It was a very harrowing day. We're watering the roof of the house and around the house, which dry as a crisp because it's very hot at the moment, 30 odd degrees. Yeah, we made it through the day so far, but we'll have to see how it goes tonight. Thank you. This is Field Messenger Robyn reporting from Grabouw in the Western Cape, very close to Cape Town in South Africa. Thank you for listening. Bye.
In the serene landscapes of Youngella, Queensland, a controversy arises over a proposed hydroelectric power initiative could reshape the region. UNN field messenger Louise reports on the environmental concerns.
I'm Louise, field messenger for United Network News, reporting from Youngella, Queensland, Australia. Today is to shed light on the world's largest hydroelectricity project proposed for this area, referred to as the Pioneer Burdekin Hydroelectricity Storage Dams. Youngella National Park, at the head of the Pioneer Valley, is known for rainforest-clad mountains, bushwalking, and unique flora and fauna. Over 1,000 platypus live in the pristine waters, which flow within a 60 square kilometre range right out to the Great Barrier Reef. This is the Pioneer Valley. They have big plans to flood it with water. All this beautiful farmland will be to waste for a proposed hydroelectric scheme. This will all be under 63 metres of water should this project proceed.
If the project, pumped hydro project, goes ahead, That means that there is an extreme danger to everything from here and down the valley down to the Great Barrier Reef to be destroyed. Now, these swift, short rivers all up and down the Queensland coast are all interconnected one way or another. To impact on one will destroy all of the rest. To destroy that will end in absolute desecration of the whole environment and all the special species that live up here and nowhere else.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. For ideas and inspiration, we encourage you to join our new Field Messenger group on Telegram. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
The new earth is all about living in abundance, which is naturally given to us by our Creator. And while we know abundance is already here, it can be challenging to feel like you're living an abundant life when the 3D matrix tries to pull you back towards living in lack. Seth Dietland communicates with angels, and he's also a hypnotherapist. He says despite all the perceived uncertainty, now is the best opportunity to step into our authentic design. So Seth is joining us again today. And Seth, we've talked about living in abundance before. So we're out of this period of lack. We're living in abundance. We know that. We've said that mentally. We understand that. But there's a lot of craziness going on right now, right? I think about our financial system and how it's all over the place. And you look at the stock market and people don't know what to expect. So how do you maintain that abundance within you when everything else feels like it's falling apart?
That's a great question. And where I feel compelled to start with this is that abundance is our natural default setting. And the abundance that's our natural default setting has nothing to do with the artificial banking system that we have, the artificial abundance that's propped up through the stock market. The fact that all of that is in flux, it is actually a huge opportunity to step into our authentic design. Now, what that means is that abundance can have a quantum relationship with us or a linear relationship with us. And let me use a couple of concrete examples. So let's say I want to go on a vacation somewhere and I decide I want to have a quantum relationship with abundance. That means that when I decide, yes, I'm going to go on that vacation, then the abundance is going to show up, because it wants to play with me. It wants to play with us. And our natural design is to create the abundance so that we can experience expansion, whether that's something like the vacation or the expansion of our entrepreneurial adventure. Now, it can also have a linear relationship with us, like is in the old system, which is, ooh, I don't know if I can spend that money because I see it as a debit out instead of an actual movement or flow of energy, which makes room for the new. So we're really being called to step into our authentic design and create a new relationship with abundance. And while the other stuff is in its flux and in its dissolved state, it's only going to make room or more room for us to be able to create abundance from our true design. And this is really exciting for us, and especially because we have a ramp up time right now to experiment with this. Perhaps we start off in little doses and then it gets bigger and bigger. And remember, the more we invest in ourselves in any way, then the more we make room like a container to bring in that flow. It's also important to remember that we are an aspect of source energy. We are in union with that creates everything. And so with that said, lack is a false construct. Yeah. The only way that we can have lack is if we decide to create it. Because when we're in union with that creates everything, we just create whatever we need. There can never be a hole where something doesn't exist because we have the creative power to create whatever it is that we need and want.
So how do we make those baby steps? You talked about that a little bit. And there may be some people watching this that are like, I am at, ground zero here. I know you're telling me abundance is here. I'm not feeling it. Do you have any tips on how we can do that and start small and grow?
Yes. My favorite one is stop tracking the metrics. So in other words, stop looking at how many zeros are in your bank account or how many zeros are on your credit card statements. Mm-hmm. Just be in the now with the abundance that you're in, because there is a great distance downward from wherever we stand. And so we can be grateful for where we are, and then we detach ourselves from the ego, which wants to idealize the metrics of what abundance looks like. So when abundance looks like the now moment that is full of everything that we need and want, then we can start from there. The other is just to continue to have an expansive journey with our inner being, with our higher self, with the source. Because as we expand in relationship with that, the way toward more channels of abundance will be revealed through that relationship. So on the other hand, we could be severely tracking the metrics. Oh, I have X amount instead of this, or I have this amount of debt instead of being free of debt, and I don't have what I want. Yet everything that we need and want, we have right now. When we turn that around and start seeing it as whole and complete and actually opening ourselves up to receive, the angels say that we're a container and that the flow from the source is infinite. So it's the difference between going to Niagara Falls with a teacup or with a 10-gallon jug. So we're meant to actually begin to find little ways to increase the size of our container instead of looking at the flow and the metrics. Little by little, we will see improvement, but don't idealize what should happen or how quickly it should happen. Just be in gratitude for it and whatever increase is made, because that increase will lead to another. And remember, we're the ones who have the ability to create whatever it is that we need or want. And all of this relationship or journey with consciousness is a way of rediscovering that. Yeah. And it's not going to happen overnight necessarily, but we will rediscover ways that we can create flow and abundance. Great way is investing in yourself. And that means whether you want to go work out with a trainer, go on a vacation, step into your calling, if there's costs associated with launching that, reading a book, the time that you read a book that's going to grow you spiritually. Anytime you invest in yourself, you're increasing the size of your container. Watch what happens to the inflow when you do that.
Some enterprising Amazonian women have been making great progress in using the cherry-like camu fruit to create a variety of products. The unpredictable rise in the water levels of the Amazon has proven challenging to the camu's harvest season. When the levels are high, the fruit gets submerged, and when the levels are low, the soil becomes dry and cracked and the fruit won't flower. To address these challenges and maximize the opportunities when the fruit is in season, the women expanded their income sources beyond solely selling the camu fruit. They are making jam, which has found success in the market. They are also collaborating with local organizations to create a powdered form of the fruit using a spray drying technique. This powdered camu is more stable than the fruit pulp and is being used to produce a line of flavored waters. Looking to further expand their enterprise, the women have set their sights on creating similar products with other Amazonian fruits. Their goal is to create a variety of foods, including a type of chocolate, biscuits, cakes, and even alcoholic beverages. One unique drink using the pulp from the processed fruit won first prize in a regional fair. The whole community participates in the harvest, and after processing, the camu seeds are used for replanting to ensure the future of the business. Beyond producing and selling wild fruits, the women are recovering ancestral knowledge like the use of medicinal plants. These Amazonian women hope to spread their love for the rainforest and pass their values to future generations. In the heart of Mozambique, the local communities surrounding Gila National Park have embarked on an exciting venture, the commercialization of native mushrooms. For the first time ever, the vivid orange iukuli mushroom, among others, is being harvested, packaged, and sold under the brand name Supamama. This ingenious venture is part of a wider conservation strategy to protect the woodlands that occupy a significant portion of Gila's 707,000 acres. The mushrooms thrive in the roots of the diverse tree species that define these woodlands, and their commercialization provides an economic reason to keep the trees standing. Gila National Park is an ecological haven, and unfortunately, the park's woodland habitats are under threat from shifting agriculture practices. Farmers exhaust the soil, abandon the fields, and clear new spaces, leading to significant tree loss. While commercial mushroom harvesting is beneficial, it is not a standalone solution, given the seasonality of mushrooms and varying yields. The teams involved in the mushroom project have been trained in sustainable harvesting methods. These include cutting mushrooms instead of pulling them out, brushing off the dirt to leave spores behind, and carrying the harvest in open baskets for spore dispersal. This groundbreaking approach is a promising part of a new plan set to roll out by the end of the year, aiming to promote sustainable use of non-timber forest products. Involvement in this project is slowly changing local mindsets. More people, particularly women who typically collect the mushrooms, are recognizing that protecting the trees means a larger mushroom harvest, creating a win-win situation for both the local communities and the environment. Tom Brown, a retired scientist, is on a mission to preserve Appalachia's heritage apples. His quest, which he describes as a calling, has seen him become the world's most accomplished heirloom apple hunter. Using his skills as a scientist, Brown has developed an intricate system to support his search. Brown has compiled a wealth of information on apple varieties by working closely with local historical groups, experienced orchard owners, and historians. His collaboration has provided him with vital insights and leads on the locations of rare apple types that were thought to be extinct. Brown's efforts have been successful, leading him to rural locations, hiding a treasury of heritage apple varieties. After locating a promising tree, Brown would take clippings and revisit during the fruiting season for identification. This involves comparing the leaves and apples to catalog entries and consulting with experts for further verification. He has driven about 30,000 miles plus a year, spending around 3 days a week on this mission. His work has not only led to the recovery of many apple varieties from the brink of extinction, but also created a renaissance in the cider industry. Brown's orchard is now overflowing with tree clones from several states. His tremendous efforts have been recognized by conservationists and culinary professionals, particularly amongst craft cider makers. Despite the challenging prospects and increasing difficulty in locating new trees, Brown remains determined. He sees the restoration of Appalachia's heritage apples as his true life's work and is hopeful about recovering even more varieties in his lifetime. His pursuit is driven by his love for history, conservation, and most importantly, the miraculous feeling of saving an apple variety from extinction. Now, a look at regional stories around the world. Citizens of Macedonia struggled to renew their passports after renaming the country North Macedonia, which means starting today, many will be unable to leave. African countries are facing a serious shortage of doctors and nurses who are leaving for better opportunities, and now the healthcare system is taking a hit. In northern India, a new law could create standards for marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance across all religious communities. And now some Muslim leaders are speaking out against it. And are the rights of car owners in Australia being violated? 25 major car brands are being criticized for collecting too much personal data. Mayotte, a French overseas territory near Madagascar and the Comoros, announced it will end automatic birthright citizenship for children of immigrants. The Interior Minister explained that citizenship will be granted only to those with at least one French parent, and that this citizenship policy will be unique to Mayotte and not extended to other French territories. This move stems from heightened tensions over undocumented immigration and its perceived impact on Mayotte's escalating social issues, including gang violence and acute water shortages. The local population, already struggling with poor living conditions, has been actively protesting, demanding action. This development closely follows a court ruling that overturned sections of stricter immigration legislation aimed at reducing welfare access and immigration rates. Critics argue this could aggravate local tensions in an area already struggling with economic challenges. As of today, February 12th, many North Macedonian citizens may find themselves stranded or unable to travel as the old passports lacking the prefix North expires. Despite long queues at police stations during the weekend, not all citizens will receive the new documents in time. The Interior Minister admitted that given the rate of only 50,000 passports issued per month, it could take an additional year to issue all necessary passports. The bureaucratic delay stems from the historical name dispute with Greece, resolved in 2018. After which the country agreed to officially rename itself North Macedonia. This change necessitates new passports to align with international agreements and facilitate future travel for citizens. The British Army wants to improve diversity within its ranks by reconsidering its security clearance processes for non-UK personnel. Government officials assure that security clearance standards will be maintained despite efforts to increase ethnic minority representation and relax residency requirements for commissioning in intelligence and officer roles. The cabinet minister is hoping to strike a balance between diversity and the country's defense capabilities. Amidst concerns from veterans and policymakers, the Army's recruitment challenges persist, with calls for expanding the military size to prepare for potential future conflicts. The Ministry of Defense stresses that any adjustments will maintain the UK's national security and the effectiveness of its armed forces. Portuguese car owners who imported used vehicles from other EU countries since January 1st, 2021 may be eligible for a tax refund. This follows a ruling by the Court of Justice of the European Union deeming Portugal's method of imposing vehicle tax on such imports as unlawful. The country's tax authority has been criticized for applying discriminatory rates not in line with those set for domestic secondhand vehicles. The Portuguese government now faces a pressing deadline to present the convincing case to European authorities or else proceed with the recommended tax structure adjustments. Taxpayers affected by the disparity have the option to seek restitution through either the tax authority or legal avenues. In Germany, individuals facing infertility are dealing with outdated fertility laws, driving some to seek high-risk methods or treatments abroad. Current legislation, considered archaic by experts, restricts access to assisted fertility treatments, barring egg donation and surrogacy, and discriminates against unmarried and same-sex couples. With under 3% of babies born through such treatments in Germany, compared to 5% in Croatia and 10% in Denmark, many potential parents are unable to afford local procedures and resort to risky practices or seek treatment abroad. Germany's government, acknowledging these issues, plans to review the 1990 Embryo Protection Act, aiming to support all individuals facing involuntary childlessness. Recommendations from a reproductive health commission are expected in April, amidst calls for policy change to align with diverse modern families and provide financial aid for infertility treatments. Healthcare systems across several African countries are experiencing a significant workforce drain as many professionals migrate in search of better opportunities and working conditions. Countries like Zimbabwe and Nigeria, with already weak health systems, face considerable challenges as they lose nurses and doctors to international migration. This trend not only cripples the healthcare services, but often results in professionals accepting lesser positions abroad, leaving their qualifications behind. Economic crisis and government policies such as recruitment freezes in nations like Ghana further aggravate the situation. With incomes insufficient to meet basic needs, healthcare workers are compelled to seek employment elsewhere. Despite efforts by some to address this through legislation or criminalization of foreign recruitment, the root causes persist: insufficient compensation and poor working conditions. In Nigeria, crime rates have been rising sharply with a focus on the rickshaw transportation sector. Local residents are increasingly alarmed as rickshaws, a common sight in the city's traffic, are being implicated in thefts, abductions, and drug trafficking. The police are concerned about the use of these vehicles in crimes, especially given the lack of regulatory measures and background checks for drivers. The city's law enforcement has taken action, with the Special Intervention Squad arresting more than 800 suspects and rescuing numerous victims in recent months. The government now faces calls to regulate the industry and protect its citizens and prevent rickshaws from becoming accessories to crimes. Myanmar's military regime has mandated military service for young adults, facing growing resistance from local insurgent groups since the 2021 coup. Men ages 18 to 35 and women ages 18 to 27 must now enlist for 2 years, with extended service for up to 5 years during the state of emergency. Specialists, including doctors up to 45 years old, are required to serve for 3 years. Non-compliance could result in a 5-year prison sentence. Many citizens, including professionals, are considering fleeing the country to avoid conscription, denouncing it as coercion into sacrificing their lives for a regime they do not support. This mandatory draft has been on the books since 2010, but is only now being enforced amidst the country's deepening crisis. Malaysia's federal court has declared Sharia-based criminal laws enacted by Kelantan's state government invalid. This decision has sparked concerns amongst followers of the Islamic faith, as many worry it could weaken the authority of Sharia courts in the country. The case, brought forth by 2 Muslim women, has challenged the state's 16 laws that imposed Islamic punishments for various offenses. Supporters of the laws rallied outside the court to express their dismay, fearing repercussions for Islamic legislation. However, the ruling is seen as upholding federal authority without undermining Islam's status as Malaysia's official religion. The decision impacts religious dynamics and the legal landscape. The Prime Minister is advocating for calmness and reinforcing this is not an assault on Islamic law, but a jurisdictional issue. Madagascar has passed a controversial law mandating castration for individuals convicted of raping minors, a move that has provoked intense debate. The law details chemical or surgical castration as potential sentences, with the latter being an automatic punishment for perpetrators of rape against children under 10 years old. This legal change comes as a response to a substantial rise in child rape cases noted by the Justice Ministry. Rights groups have condemned the measure, highlighting issues within the judicial system and potential human rights violations. However, there is some local support, claiming it to be a necessary deterrent in a country grappling with rape culture. The law awaits final approval from the High Constitutional Court and the President. In a northern state in India, a new law proposes a uniform standard for marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance across all religious communities. The law also mandates the registration of live-in relationships, penalizing noncompliance with fines or imprisonment. Proponents, like the state's top official, argue the measure promotes societal uniformity without targeting any particular group. However, it has drawn sharp criticism from various quarters, including Muslim leaders who consider it an imposition on religious practices tied to personal laws. Concerns stem from the impact on diverse cultural customs and the fear of pervasive criminalization against Muslims. Citizens in live-in relationships worry about intrusive legal obligations and police supervision. But legislation awaits formal ratification. In Indonesia, the youth, who account for more than half of the nation's 205 million voters, are concerned about job opportunities and quality of life as the country gears up for their presidential election. Many young voters remain skeptical of candidates' economic policies and their ability to generate employment. Despite the promises made by presidential hopefuls to create millions of jobs, Indonesia is still facing significant unemployment issues, especially amongst the young. Figures show that those ages 15 to 24 represent 55% of the nearly 7.86 million unemployed. Investments in sectors like nickel refining have not translated to substantial job growth, often relying on foreign labor and automation. Lack of alignment between vocational education and private sector needs aggravates the issue. In Brazil, officials shut down a well-known market in Rio de Janeiro, alleging it was a hub for illegal trade by gangsters. The market, notorious for its trade in stolen goods, was a lifeline for the local community members, many of which depended on it for their livelihoods. Traders expressed outrage, defending their integrity and criticizing the treatment of all vendors as criminals. They emphasized the importance of the market in keeping the youth away from crime and argued that the closure unfairly brands them as lawbreakers. The shutdown, enforced by a heavy police presence, adds to the community's hardship as they are still recovering from recent devastating floods. Despite the opposition, officials remain determined to keep the market closed. As loans from U.S. banks to shadow banks surpass $1 trillion, concerns over the financial risks to the public are escalating. Shadow banks, including fintechs, financial technology, and private lenders, often borrow from traditional banks to fund high-risk loans that banks themselves avoid. Regulators worry these loans, if defaulted, could impact the overall financial system and potentially harm consumers and investors. Recent regulator comments suggest a push for greater transparency and oversight to protect against a potential race to the bottom in loan quality and to mitigate risk exposure. The proposed changes would require banks to disclose detailed information on their lending to these non-bank entities, potentially revealing hidden financial vulnerabilities. This development comes as consumer debt levels, such as auto loans and credit cards, also continue to rise, adding another layer of concern regarding the financial stability of ordinary people. Amazon is facing a class action lawsuit that accuses the company of misleading consumers into purchasing more expensive products. The lawsuit alleges that Amazon's Buy Box feature, which guides shoppers to specific products, has been promoting options that favor Amazon's profits rather than the best deals for customers. This has reportedly impacted 98% of buyers who trust Amazon to recommend economical purchases. Claims suggest the algorithm behind this feature favors sellers enrolled in Amazon's Fulfillment by Amazon program, which could cost consumers more. Amazon has requested to dismiss the antitrust lawsuit, defending its practices as standard retail operations. This case joins several other allegations against Amazon's business practices, including antitrust concerns being investigated by the Federal Trade Commission. In the U.S., employees' communications are increasingly monitored by AI technologies in the workplace. Companies like Aware are now integrating machine learning models to scrutinize messaging platforms such as Slack and Microsoft Teams. Critics argue this type of surveillance could have a chilling effect on employee speech and raise worker rights and privacy issues. Despite assurances from Aware that personal identifiers are protected, research suggests that anonymization may not be as secure as claimed. There are concerns that AI systems can infer personal details from patterns in language use. While Aware claims its AI does not make disciplinary recommendations, the lack of transparency in AI decision-making processes makes it challenging for employees to defend themselves against potential disciplinary actions. New York City is struggling with a critical housing shortage as the number of rental vacancies has dropped to 1.4%, a level not seen since 1968. The scarcity of affordable housing is particularly dire for middle and working class citizens, with the majority of low-income families spending more than 30% of their income on rent, a situation classified as rent-burdened. Rental units priced under $1,100 are almost non-existent, with less than 1% coming under $2,400. Despite a 2% increase in housing units between 2021 and 2023, demand continues to overwhelm supply, placing immense financial pressure on New Yorkers. Initiatives like the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity are being proposed to address the crisis, aiming to add up to 100,000 new apartments through zoning changes and revitalizing construction with new tax incentives. In Australia, car owners are facing potential infringement on their privacy due to advanced technology in vehicles. A recent analysis of 25 major car brands, including local sellers like Toyota, criticized the extensive data collection by these companies, which could include sensitive personal information. Consumers have raised concerns about the lack of clarity and control over their data, as vehicles can now record a wide range of information, from location to more intimate details. Toyota Australia has responded by stating the option to opt out is available, although it would limit other car functionalities. Privacy advocates argue that Australia's privacy laws need strengthening to protect consumers from data exploitation by multinational companies. With the potential for invasive privacy breaches in driverless cars also emerging, experts advise consumers to be vigilant about who they trust with their personal information. Also in Australia, concerns are rising as 1 in 3 students fail to meet basic literacy standards, prompting debates over reading instruction methods. A recent report criticizes the whole language approach, prevalent since the 1970s, where students are left to guess word meanings, resulting in costly tutoring. Instead, they advocate for structured literacy, including phonics and explicit instruction, which could reportedly make at least 90% of students proficient readers. Although there's consensus on structured literacy's efficacy, not all schools have adopted it, leading to calls for government action to standardize and support effective teaching strategies. With Australia's educational system prioritizing school autonomy, challenges remain in ensuring consistent implementation of structured literacy in every classroom. The Education Minister acknowledges the issue and aims to mandate successful teaching methods in future funding agreements. And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. The operatives appear to be taking charge and defending various government institutions against the deep state. This could get very interesting in the coming days. And today we will talk more about you and how to manifest change in your mind, body, and soul. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. How are we doing today, Kim?
Oh, it's chaos out there.
But you made it. You made it to the news.
I did. And we have a lot to talk about. So let's give an intel update first.
Okay.
And part of this kind of relates to what we're seeing and what we're not seeing in the world. So what's happening is yesterday, the operatives have made a decision, can't talk today either, made a decision to basically stand with us. They looked at a lot of different options. They looked at the possibility of trying to see if they could make this on their own, if there was another place they could get money from. And a lot of this was, I would say, due to the fact that they have been working for, forcefully so, someone else for a long time. Now, in the world of governments, deep state, everything we see going on in this world, these are the guys that are and ladies that are the boots on the ground, the ones that actually get the jobs done.
Yeah.
And for them to do that, that was huge. Now, each one of these parties, individually and sometimes collectively, each have had a different responsibility. They have been the handlers of militaries, and there are some that handle, for example, the U.S. military. There are some that handle the political sector. There are some that, this goes on in every country in the world. There's no exception to this rule. So over the weekend, once they made that decision, the remaining SSP folks that want to go in another direction, these are mainly the ones that are with the Trump organization, as an example. They in part were hopeful that Trump was going to, or fate, whatever that is, was going to get the seat at the New World Order organization. So they had big hopes and aspirations that they were going to be getting one of those 13 seats on the new world government.
That were promised to a gazillion people.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. The game of musical chairs in that case doesn't add up, even in the slightest. So because they were promised all of these grandiose things, you're seeing some of these operatives in weird places over the last few days, creating a little bit of havoc. And we'll talk about the Super Bowl as well. You saw these operatives in Antarctica. They are down there looking for some technologies. In the Falkland Islands, as an example, over the weekend, we've run into them. And we also ran into them yesterday afternoon in Las Vegas. Now, for those of, oh yes, big surprise there. Yeah. They had some wonderful, exciting things planned for us this weekend. And it's not just the people in Las Vegas. It just happens to be that this underground facility had a connection to another facility in Paris, was one, Sweden was another, Mozambique on the African continent another. So there were other locations in the world tied to this one facility where they intended on a massive, they were going to use this alien technology to create a massive, well, I can say that now because I'm on a different one here, a massive disease X outbreak and severe neurological disorders in all those that happen to be right above this facility.
Wow.
Yes. Now, another little story that I will tell you on how they were planning on connecting to the human body is we have something called viruses. We consider viruses as colds, and we consider it a lot of other things, but did you know it's a virtual integrated repeater unifying system?
It stands for something.
It stands for something. Yes, it does. It's an anagram. So, yes. Now, this actually ties into the situation we were having a few months back, and still are to some degree, with people talking about why is the AIDS virus in the vaccines. There was a lot of talk about that. Now, the AIDS virus, there's that word again, that anagram again, is a type of herpes, basically. So you have chickenpox as herpes, you have obviously other types, type 1, type 2, and there are a few other diseases that are created by the same type of virtual integrated repeater unifying system. The system that they were trying to utilize underneath this facility would have been connected to this type of a virus. So if you ever had chickenpox as a kid, or a cold sore ever in your life, or any of these things, you would have fallen victim to what they were trying to do over the weekend. And let's talk a little bit about the herpes virus for a minute, because the herpes virus is actually something that settles in the spinal cord. Yes, it does. It settles at the base of the spinal column, which is why, as an older adult, sometimes they say if you've had chickenpox, then you can now have shingles, because it lays dormant in this place until it's activated. Now, people think, oh, this is a normal bodily process once you have this virus, but that's not the case. It was all run and controlled by a similar system. So when they tried to fire up the system, there was nothing tied to it in Earth's orbit that would have allowed for it to utilize your person as a repeater and then spread this disease.
Right.
For those of you that don't know what a repeater is, it's, say, you have Wi-Fi in your house. You have a modem in your house, and that's where all the internet comes into your home. You may have a larger home, or you might have multiple floors, and you buy these little boxes that you plug in, which then helps you receive signal the further away you are from the modem.
Right.
You were, in this case, one of those boxes. you were a repeater of that signal, utilizing your energy that runs through your spinal column and your neurological system to then become basically an antenna, a Wi-Fi antenna for this system. If you had ever had chickenpox or shingles or any of these viruses. So this is also the reason why the rumors had started on the internet about the emergency broadcast system going off, because they intended to utilize this event, calling it an electromagnetic pulse or something like that. And I believe the intended perpetrator, terrorist organization in this case, was going to be Iran. Those are the words that we're hearing on the street. This also is quote unquote inside event was circulating around Congress and in the political sector over the last few days, which then propelled Congress, because people got wind that there might be a terrorist attack during the Super Bowl, and therefore, America, we need to protect ourselves. And that is why you saw a big funding bill get passed in Congress to protect us against the terrorist threat. I know.
But they still don't have any money. So they're passing bills and they still don't have any money.
No, they still don't have any money, but there was the promise of money on Saturday.
Yeah.
They had a promise and a possibility of getting money on Saturday. So therefore, they act accordingly, and they always act ahead of time. They put everything in place. You know, that's how these remaining SSP operatives work. And so another thing that happened over this weekend as well. So no pay came on Saturday, nonetheless, and not like anybody was expecting it. But, you know, they kind of gave it an opportunity because there were a few operatives that wanted to see if these people could pull it off. And of course they didn't. You know, it also caused a lot of disturbance in the Middle East this weekend. Last night, there were a lot of bombings in the Gaza Strip to try to get the remaining people there to leave Israel. The reason for that, it's all about the funding that was supposedly going to come from the United States, who also doesn't have any money, in order to fund the Greater Israel Project, which would essentially turn the entire Middle East into Greater Israel. Right. So, with that being said, Israel is lesser Rothschild. The country has been completely controlled by the families for a long period of time. When they failed to come up with the money, the SSP failed to come up with the money, now everybody is starting to question what they're doing there again. But this time, it's a little bit different. So once that decision was made with all the operatives, of course the crazy SSP people were listening. And they decided to call places like the Pentagon and members of Congress and all of this to try to sway them to their side, promising them that this Friday for sure will be the day. We will have it by this Friday. Don't you worry. Well, I was actually pretty surprised at what happened after that. There have been men, predominantly men, that have been the handlers on behalf of the deep state. These are operatives that were the direct handlers for the Pentagon. They would tell the Pentagon what to do, where to go. The money would flow through them. And therefore, you could consider the Pentagon as a whole, just as one example, because this is the same with GCHQ and other countries, militaries, Pakistan, and a number of other countries. So you could consider this to be their asset. So the military is their asset. So when they started receiving calls from the crazy SSP people, the operatives basically formed a barricade around their asset and said that this place doesn't belong to you. We have been handling this place forever. We are going to continue to handle this place. We will take care of it from here. And then they started promising them money, which didn't end well. They said, do you have any money today for us? Oh, no, you don't.
So physical blockade or barrier, physical.
Well, I'm not going to call it like they weren't all standing in a circle around the building or anything like that. I would say they basically formed their phone lines no longer rang inside the building kind of thing. These guys picked up those lines as the incoming calls came in, and they will do all negotiations on behalf of their asset from here on out. The same thing also started happening with the Federal Reserve, or what's left of it, and the Treasury Department. Now, when they started entering into these sectors over the weekend, the Federal Reserve came back and told them that they run the financial show of the planet. They are in charge. They've got it all covered, and you don't know who you're messing with and all of this. And they said, well, if you're in charge, then pay us right now. We've been working here now for a few years and not got paid. You know, are you going to ready to pay us? If you're in charge, then you should be able to give us money right now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can't. So it doesn't look like you're in charge of much of anything. You know, all you have is a bunch of debt and a bunch of hot air. But this is the doing on behalf of the Order of the Dragon, who is their boss, so to speak. So the plans of them creating a new world order, utilizing all of what's left of their assets, kind of is going out the window. And that is becoming more and more evident as the day goes on today. It's not just in the United States. This is happening in the UK. This is happening in Israel. This is happening throughout the Middle East. This is happening in Russia. This is happening in South Africa. I know that it's also happening in Ghana. It's also happening in Nigeria. So things are getting, once they get a full handle, you know, making sure that nobody is coming against their asset, whether they run the military of Nigeria or politics in Ghana or, you know, any combination of those. Once they do that, then they will, and they have chosen a few people to come and sit down and have a meeting so that we can figure out how things are going to change and where we go from here.
So they have actually approached you to have a meeting? To sit down? Okay, good. Wow.
I know, it's all happening. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping, and from what I'm hearing, the chatter is it could be as early as Tuesday, but sometime between Tuesday and Thursday of this week.
And today's Monday, so you're talking about tomorrow.
It could possibly be tomorrow. That's what I'm hearing. A pre-meeting probably tomorrow. We have a lot of people that have come in here over the weekend as well. So I can see everybody making moves and I see what they're doing. I'm not interfering with anything. I don't care if that's their sector. That's fine. I understand that because every single asset they're securing at this moment in time is relative to change or could be useful for change. And that's what we're hoping for. And with these guys at the helm, these are the ones that get the job done. So we could see a lot of change. Now, on the contrary, now we have a definitive owner of a facility, be it the Treasury Department, be it the Federal Reserve, be it the, you know, we don't probably need a Fed anymore, but be it the Treasury, be it the militaries, or be it intelligence agencies. We now have a definitive, what I would call an owner of that facility. So if something is going right, that's the guy we go to, or the lady. If something is going wrong, that's the guy we go to, or the lady, and they're given a certain amount of time to correct the issue, to get everything in line. They're capable. They're very capable. So we'll see how that goes. But that was a huge step forward for us if it actually happens. And I know people are on the fence about what operatives can and cannot do or anything like that. And the definition of an operative is confusing to people. People think, well, everybody looks like Jason Bourne. No, that's not the case here in any way. Yes, there are some that are like that. You know, you don't want to meet them in a dark alley for sure. There are people like the John Wick movie that you see. But to kind of put it into more of a different perspective, I know you've probably seen the series Blacklist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you remember the guy Red, who actually was a very high level operative and fixer. And he actually helped the FBI kind of turn in some of these people that were doing all this different stuff. He told them when bombings were going to happen ahead of time. You know, there's a lot of things that can be changed with some cooperation. And if you haven't seen the series, it's a great binge watch. It'll tell you a little bit more about different types of operatives, and they're all not the same. So that is the update there. Now, we could do something, Sunny, and I'm going to give this up to you since this is your birthday week here. People are asking me a lot of questions. Apparently, Anna von Reitz put out a report where there were some swear words included about me. She's very unhappy with me, and I can tell you why, and has been for a long time. And you know, there's another report that came out from Benjamin Fulford. Apparently, I am not a human, still not a human. I know. Do we want to address these things?
No. That's my vote. My vote is, who cares what these people say? I don't care what these people say. I feel like we are putting out a certain vibration, a certain frequency. Either you align or you don't align. I feel no need to address. It's all poppycock. I couldn't think of a better word, guys. Sorry. It's poppycock.
That's a great non-swear word to say, Sunny, on the news.
I can say a lot of other words. It's all, you know what I want to say. It's poppycock. I don't want to give it attention. Like, I mean, that's my vote. I have no interest in addressing it. It's just, I don't even know what it is. I don't know if these people are being influenced. It seems like some people are just on the crazy train recently.
Well, I can tell you with Anna what it is. Anna works with two people. One of them was an IMF assassin by the name of Scott Lennon. Mm-hmm. The other one she worked with was another gentleman from the IMF who was more of a fixer with the International Monetary Fund. His name is Michael Young. Michael Young claims to be part indigenous person. I don't remember what tribe, something or other out of Alaska, which technically would make him Russian, but they don't really acknowledge that fact. So I can tell you that much. I can tell you I have met Scott Lennon in person and some other people that he works with, definitely in 2016. Scott is actually the one that introduced me to Anna von Reitz the first time. And we had several sordid conversations. There's also two lovely ladies, they're a couple, and they, who I know, I could probably even get them on the news if you wanted to, who one of them actually went to jail for trying to issue bonds against in-ground assets of the United States, predominantly the western half of the United States, to then turn over these bonds to sell them to the Vatican. That is a fact. I had countless conversations and still speak to these ladies because they're lovely. And, you know, we've helped them out a little bit. Lovely couple. And they actually, now both of them are out of jail. So not before they lost their home. They lost a lot of things over what Anna von Reitz has been trying to do. Wow. So when she brought those to me, and wanted me to give cash against those for her fake bank, because she's a fake judge, Bank of Dene, it's called. And you can look that up. It's on the internet. She wanted me to give cash against these in-ground assets of the United States or assist her in, which I have no communication with the Vatican at this time, still don't really. She wanted me to assist her in assigning over these bonds to the Vatican and give the Vatican the cash, then she could have the bonds. And I said, oh, no. I think human beings as a whole do not want in-ground assets being assigned to the Vatican again, or their selves, their persons, their souls, or anything else to the Vatican again. I don't think we want to be collateral again. So that began our big argument. There were some threats from her. She was going to send people to come and see me, all of these types of things. And then there was the birth of, back in, I think, 2016 it was, of me being all of these weird and wonderful things she likes to call me. that was the beginning of it. So am I aware of something called Project Crimson something or other? No, I'm not. Have I ever worked for the CIA? No, I have not. Nope, never been an asset of any organization anywhere. I came here as a VIP guest, not an asset. So I'm well aware of who runs this place or used to run this place. I am well aware that Bush Sr. had a house here. Cheney had a house here. Cheney's brother has a house in a town called Bayfield, not too far from here. I am aware more than you know of what happens around here. Mm-hmm. And I don't talk about everything that happens in my life. You know, to waste time acknowledging a fake judge in Alaska who sends letters to the Vatican every other day, and this president and that president, and has gone completely ignored, unacknowledged and ignored for how many years? 10, 15 years now? Everybody's ignored her. Yeah. And I don't really see, we all could actually collectively as a group get together and write letters to the White House. Do you think we're going to get anywhere?
No, I do not.
No. And we all get up and, we all stand in a voting line. Not we all, because I don't, but, and we stand there in November. Some places it's very cold, and we wait in a long line to go to your local voting place, and you vote, and nobody cares either. No. And nobody cares that you're filming videos from Antarctica, because I ran into you this morning in the Falkland Islands. I think it's funny, and I know they know who I'm talking about. And in the grand scheme of the freedom of humanity, which is what we're looking for here, we would like to not be collateral. We would like to have them stop spraying us like we're cockroaches. We would like to have them stop infecting our food, our air, our water, our medical system, creating false belief systems and medical things that don't work, those types of things. That's what we would like. I mean, amongst all else, we would also like to have a little bit more time to spend with our family. Therefore, that would require a reasonable living wage in all areas of the world. This is where I think we're going, right, Sunny? This is where we want to go?
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more to this than that. But the world has to change in steps. Mm-hmm. And that change, I believe, starts with you as a co-creator. Starts with me as a co-creator. Starts with each one of you as a co-creator. And if you are a group of people, it starts with the group of people all co-creating with the creator at the same time for the same thing, to bring in that into our physical reality. Mm-hmm. That's what I believe. So there's a lot of questions I had, which is why I'm going to go a little further into what we talked about on Friday. People had a lot of questions about manifesting change using consciousness, energy, essence, and frequency. Yeah. So people asked me a question, well, if I believe that I am going to, and this is what this particular person said, lose weight, then that means that if I believe it enough, that I will lose weight. Well, not exactly. I'm going to address it from that standpoint, and then we'll go into a lot more of co-manifestation on how this works. Okay. So you have a physical body. Mm-hmm. You obviously have a mental and emotional self. And then we have your soul, or your joint essence with Source. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you take a look at yourself and you say, in the mirror, you look, and you say, I love myself exactly the way I am. Look how amazing I am. And you start talking to yourself like you love yourself, like you would talk to another person on this planet that you love, or mm-hmm. a plant or an animal. You love the plant, you love the animal. You talk so kindly But how do you talk to yourself? In addition to that, there is a certain amount of mental and emotional and even conscious and subconscious thought that takes place when you take care of those you love, be it your children, your animals, however you do that. So there's a frequency to every single aspect of this in order to bring this into a physical body and a physical change. So you could say to yourself all the right things, and you could say, you wouldn't want to say, I want to lose something. You want to take that word out. You want to say, I love this body that Source has given me. I love every cell in my body. I love, every cell in my body works harmoniously together to create my best self, that kind of thing. In order to effectuate a physical change, that part has to be there. You have to actually believe what you're saying. Not like, well, gee, I hope this works and I'll lose some weight. That's not how it works. Now, that is part of it. Now, if for those of us that have kids or have had kids or animals, those types of things, there's other parts of that too, to making sure that your loved ones are healthy and well taken care of. You do things like try to cook them a nutritious meal because you love them. You try to make sure they eat the right things, at least to the best of your knowledge of what's the right thing, and try to maybe get organic foods if you can afford it, and you try to nourish them in that way the best that you can every day. Whether it be animals, pets, spouse, other person in your life. Now, ask yourself, do you do the same thing to yourself? So as you're eating, you pick a meal for yourself because you've already decided that emotionally and mentally and on a soul level, you're ready to support yourself in this journey. Now, when you pick up food, which is, I think, a source gift as well, where our bodies are geared towards this at this moment, and wasn't always that way. We didn't always need it. We do now to survive, to nourish ourselves. But as you pick up what you deem to be the right thing, whatever that right thing is, and it's different for everybody, by the way. Some people feel really good when they eat certain vegetables, say. And other people, it just hits their body the wrong way. And there are some things that just hit everybody the wrong way. But for the most part, everybody has to do this for themselves. How do you feel when you eat this? When this is on your plate, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel when you're done? So as you're eating that food, your chosen foods and the ones that make you feel good, and you eat them, close your eyes for just a second and imagine that food healing every cell in your body. So we talk about people like the medical medium, which I think his stuff is fantastic. And he talks about the powers of different foods and foods that heal and how to cleanse to heal and how to heal your brain, how to heal your liver. Like he has a number of different books out there. And yes, those foods possess certain properties that your body may be lacking if you're experiencing a certain symptom. That's what they talk about. Now, if you emotionally, I'm making a new word today, emotionally, mentally and emotionally don't believe that food has those properties, or you're subconsciously doing it for the wrong reasons, then that food may not heal you. Mm-hmm. The same thing, that's subconsciously and consciously. So if you're looking for a desired physical effect, whether that's to heal yourself from a disease or to stop, abdominal discomfort all the time or something, or joint pain or whatever it is, it's great to follow people like that because he's very good at what he does. But by the same token, you have to physically believe that this food is healing your body and you are at your optimal weight because of this food, and this food is going to make sure of it. So you're putting things into your body that feel good to you. You're taking an action as well, which requires both mental, emotional, conscious and subconscious thought. And you're putting all of these things together and you're bringing it into the physical. You're now manifesting it into the physical. You've made an action, which requires everybody here to participate, all yourselves, so to speak. Now, additional actions that one might take. Okay, well, I'm suffering from a little joint pain. Maybe I need to stretch. Maybe I could benefit from a structural integrator, which is going to help my fascia not pull on my joints so much in the wrong direction. Maybe I have scar tissue and I want to look at cold laser therapy or something like that that breaks up scar tissue. You can do all of those things too, but you're taking an action to love yourself. And if you don't believe in that action you've chosen, and you work together with the practitioner, because there's an energy exchange that takes place there, and you work together with that practitioner and you say, we are going to co-create and co-heal my body. Like I said, it might involve a device, it might not, or it might be an essential oil, it could be a supplement or something you're taking. But anytime you buy a new supplement, as an example, you should always hold it directly to your solar plexus, which is the center of all your energy, and put all your energy into that supplement to do what it says it's going to do. I am so grateful that because of you, I will no longer, I can't say I no longer, that I am allergy free. I breathe perfectly throughout the entire spring season. I'm so grateful that you're healing me. And you have to really put all of your mental and emotional energy in what that gratefulness feels like. And you'll see supplements work in your body better than you ever have before.
Wow.
Because it's you. And I'm not saying that it's, okay, well, we're looking at an object here that's not alive, obviously, but it still has every bit of matter on this planet is made of essence, consciousness, frequency, and energy. Everything you see as a solid object really doesn't look like a solid object when you look at it in the right way. Right. So remember, everything you put into your body becomes a part of your essence, your energy, and your consciousness. Now, I'll tell you a story. I had a good friend of mine that was a personal trainer. And he worked with a lot of different clients, all shapes, all sizes. Some were preparing for bodybuilding competitions and those types of things. And other ones were 80-year-old people that were looking to get into shape and make the best of the next, 30 to 40 years, which now may turn into 300 years, we don't know yet, of their life. Well, it's true. We have to think about that because that's, and that's a real thing. So he told me about a particular client. It was a female, and the female was having a really hard time losing weight. Now, she was showing up for herself. Her diet was on point. It was perfect. She was always showing up to work out with the trainer, several times a week. She was doing all the right things. She could run miles on a treadmill without even losing a breath, the whole thing, and she just couldn't figure it out. Now, there's a number of different reasons why this could take place. But in this particular instance, and I'm mentioning this one for a reason, there was an emotional issue that prevented her from losing what she wanted to lose, or toning her body, or being her best self. The emotional issue stemmed from, at the time, it was a severe trauma. There was a rape involved when she was young, and the emotional trauma of that made her body start craving certain things that weren't, part of the plan, which is how she kind of got there in the first place. So she started wanting those things for comfort. But additionally, it also stopped men from looking at her in that way.
Yep.
Whether she realized it or not, it is something that happened. And, you know, luckily my trainer friend is a mind, body, and soul holistic trainer. And he sat down and he started talking with her. And he said, you know, oh, okay, I get it now. You know, there's an emotional trauma here. And I can understand. And they talked about it and everybody cried and the whole thing. And then she was able to move past that trauma and realize that as long as you set those boundaries for yourself and you value yourself, you know, and, you know, then there was a talk about self-defense classes and things like that to make her feel stronger, like she wasn't powerless. And there was a whole healing that took place with this trainer. And eventually this lady ended up dropping over 100 pounds. So it's possible when you're trying to do something, you can also block yourself consciously or subconsciously from reaching your physical goal. That the same thing goes for healings. Now, we have all heard the stories where someone has had a disease that medical science, where are my words today, Sunny? I don't know. Did you have words today when you were reading the script?
I speak Kim. It's okay.
Okay. Gotcha. I know. But there's also a number of people who allopathic medicine told that they would not survive. You've got 2 weeks to live. Go live it up. You're done.
Yeah.
Then they turn out, you know, it's 4 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, and they're still here. And science can't explain those people. And that's because of the soul source connection is in line with the mental and emotional connection. And then in line with the physical and body connection. So if you have something in your body that you want to change, of course, there's actions that take place because you have to give yourself love also. You know, just like you would cook meals every night for someone you love, or you would make sure your kids always had that warm coat on when it's snowing outside before they go to school, or all the things you do to nurture everyone around you. The actionable part is a part of nurturing yourself too. You know, I know we live busy lives. I live a busy life too. I am very busy, too busy right now. But to take just 5 or 10 minutes out of your day and start with some deep breaths. Close your eyes, put on your favorite music, your frequency, whatever you like, and take a deep breath all the way in, and then let that deep breath all the way out, and then push it out through your stomach. Use your stomach muscles to push it all the way out. And then repeat this process slowly. You will give yourself a cognitive reset in your brain. You will no longer feel stressed. You will take all of that out. That's just a few minutes a day, 10, 15 minutes, and just breathe. You will reset your mind and recenter yourself almost instantly. That is also a part of self-care. We all have chaotic lives. We have alignments with this and that cause disruptions, and deep state people over here and blah, blah, you know, going on the internet and all of that. But you just recenter yourself and figure out how important this is to you. You've only got so many hours in a day. You probably need to use some of them to sleep. I know you want to take care of your whole family, but a few minutes for yourself is good. The same thing goes if you decide to take a walk at night. You could do it as a whole family. You could do it with your spouse. You could do it by yourself and put some headphones on and rock out and sing throughout your whole neighborhood like nobody's watching. You know, dance around your kitchen when you're making food. Anything, you know, anything to help your body, because that energy that goes through you when you're being creative is amazing to heal your cells. If you have a little more time in your day, let's just say you're looking to drop a few pounds or something. Say that's your thing. Or we'll start with that. So if you close your eyes and you start to focus on every cell in your body, including your fat cells, because that's what we want to keep the muscle, we want to keep the bones, we want to keep everything healthy. But you start to focus on them, and then you take that light that's from your solar plexus and you push it into those particular areas, wherever that is. And you use that light to start melting that away. That's you're using your energy, your mental, emotional, and soul source essence connection to your physical self to start helping your body because you love yourself. You're putting that source energy, source co-creator energy, and you're putting source co-creator consciousness into it. You're putting source co-creator essence into it, and you're bringing it all into the physical self. You will start to change it. You'll start to change your body. This is the part of the you and your consciousness I didn't quite get to. So we're getting it as part of the news today because I think it's important because there were so many questions about it. So I'm going to answer your questions. The same thing goes, say you have an injury. You know, and we've all, if you've lived a little in this life, you've got some injuries. I have torn ligaments in the one leg, you know, torn knee in the other one. I've got scars here and there everywhere from all the stuff I've done. But you might have an injury. Now, if you take that same energy and you bring it to that area where that injury is, say it's internal scar tissue from a previous surgery, say it was a previously torn ligament or something that has some scar tissue, you can use that same energy to start working on dissolving that scar tissue. You can do the same with tumors that are unwanted. You can do a lot of different things with that light energy throughout your whole body. You could even bring it up into your mind and heal a stressful situation. So the part of your brain that triggers anxiety attacks or very, you know, your body just gets into that stress mode and you're just like, you know, kind of shaking and your, you know, adrenaline's pumping and all of that is right in the center of your brain. Mm. So, and I've actually helped people, and funny enough, so our producer Mike lives here in Durango now, and there was a time we were out and about together, and we stopped at this store, and the clerk was having an anxiety attack, and yep, and so he was like, forgive me, I'm trying to do my job here, but I'm having an anxiety attack. I said, okay, well, just take it. There was nobody behind us, so it was fine. I said, just take a few minutes. And I said, I want you to bring your energy up, and I want you to morph that energy into what you see as a feather. Close your eyes and imagine it being a light, gentle feather. And I want you to stroke the very center of your brain with it, just ever so lightly and calmly in all of this. And so just take as long as you need until you start to feel that anxiety go away. So about a week or so goes by, and so I'm talking to Mike, and Mike says, he's like, they think I'm your husband. I'm like, well, that's not really a possibility considering, you know, Mike is Mike, and Mike doesn't like girls, so it just didn't work out that way. But he says, your wife, she's saved me. I'm going off all my medication. I don't have to go to my therapist anymore. You thank her so much and that kind of thing, because he doesn't have anxiety anymore. I mean, he might have anxiety, but now he knows how to fix it all on his own. Wow. And it's possible for all of you to do the same thing. You can do the same thing with depression as well. We all have tough days. We all have days where we feel like we've been beaten up and raked over the coals. But just take that just a couple minutes and just focus on it and just slightly stroke that part of your brain that triggers that, and you'll start feeling better. You'll feel calmer. There's nothing to worry about, and those types of things. So when you want to manifest a change physically, you can work with your soul essence, your source, joint source person, soul essence, and mental co-creation, source consciousness and your consciousness, emotional co-creation with your consciousness, and then you can manifest things into the physical body. And you will be so shocked when you start to just take a few minutes and do these things with yourself. If you suffer from anxiety, if you suffer from sleeplessness and those types of things. Now, sure, on the other hand, there are certain things that your body can be deficient in, or you could have a hormone imbalance that can cause these issues. But if you ask, just ask, what is it in my body that is preventing me from losing weight, if that's what you want to do? What is it in my body source that is preventing me from healing my knee? What is it source, and just ask about whatever the situation is. And you'll get the answer. You will get the answer. If it's a hormone issue, or you're deficient in magnesium, or whatever it is that's amplifying your problem, because that's all it's going to do, is amplify the situation. And then you find the right supplement or whatever it is to balance out the hormones. There's lots of them out there for men and for women. Then you can start using these techniques in addition to something that you've already said, this is going to heal my body. This is going to balance my hormones. I am going to be in perfect health. My hormones are in perfect balance. And it's all because we're going to co-create this together, bottle of whatever, or cream of whatever, whatever it is you decide to use.
Yeah.
And you'll definitely start seeing those physical changes in your body. You can look at yourself as like, well, I've got these scars, I've got these wounds, I can't do this because I have this knee pain, or because my arm hurts, or because I was, in a situation, I was in a car accident and I've never been able to do X. That's not true. You are. You are completely and totally capable of changing your life.
Yeah.
Both mind, body, and soul.
I feel like we have to stay away from the no, nots, and nevers.
That's right. The no's, nots, nevers, the can'ts, the won'ts. Yeah. And that goes for trying to create a better world too. I mean, I could sit here on the news and I could complain to you about the 9,000 things that happened over the weekend. I could. Most of these things I actually laughed about. The SSP is where? What? Or so-and-so said what? Or photoshopped what? I mean, I could sit here and tell you all about it, but it's not going to get us anywhere. And I am more focused. 99.9% in my day goes into the focus of improving the planet. Now, my waking hours go into that, whether I'm putting something together for all of you, or I'm putting something together for, my child. I'm putting something together even for myself, 10, 15 minutes of breathing, maybe I sit under a red light or something like that. I like that too, by the way. It does definitely help with your mood, especially if you're in a place that doesn't get a lot of sun. It's a detoxer. And it helps with cellular regeneration, helps with circulation, so many things that it does. But, I'll sit under there and I'll breathe for 10, 15 minutes. I know the timer is on for 20 minutes when I do it. So I know how long I'm deep breathing and I'm paying more attention to myself. And if I have at least that time in my day, then the rest of my day is a whole lot better. And then I can laugh all these things off. Yeah. Try to understand something with these people. And I know there's a lot coming at a lot of people right now, both within, the group and outside the group. I mean, I had a friend of mine stop by yesterday that said to me, he goes, everybody is cracking like an egg. He's like, what is happening? Everybody in my world is like cracking, like they're losing it. I know. Are you experiencing that too, Sunny?
Everywhere. Doesn't matter the age. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Doesn't matter. It's like they're losing it. And it's going to get more and more chaotic as people start to see those wounds, because you can't hide them anymore. The light is shining on them now. And you can choose to remove them or not. And maybe they don't even understand how to do that. You know, if you are a person and you're watching this and you do understand how to do that, maybe put your name out there. And, you know, if you wanted to eventually, you know, be in the marketplace and try to help people through that, you're a healer and you'd like to do that, that would be great. For now, maybe, you know, in the chats or something like that, or reach out in our community on the app. Just to try to talk to people, you know, and try to help people through this. Maybe it's not even for them. Maybe it's for their spouse or their child or somebody else that's, you know, losing it a little bit. We're seeing a lot of divorces, a lot of breakups, a lot of all kinds of things happening right now that you never thought you'd see. And it's just part of the change.
It's a little crazy out there.
It is a little crazy out there. But remember this. When one door closes, Source will open another door for you. And you might not understand the painful situation that you might be going through right now. But I promise you, it's happened to me time and time again. A better door opens. And then I look back at it and I say, oh boy, I know why that door needed to close now. So life is life. Even the most painful things that have happened in my life turned out to bring me to something better. Maybe I made a move across the country, or I did, you know, something I would have never done before, or took a vacation somewhere I never would have thought of before, just because I met a person and they started talking about it, and it turned out to be one of my best vacations ever. So people come into your life for a reason. They don't always stay. And right now, you're going to see a lot of that. So I'm just cautioning you ahead of time, you know, that these things could very well happen. Friendships, people are moving away from each other, those types of things. You know, and people also tend to get angry a lot of times as well. You know, they're angry. Sometimes we've done things like ourselves in our life. Say we had a little lesson or what you would call a mistake in your life. And you're forced to go back and look at that. And people want to fight that. And look, this physical body of mine has protected me from an emotional wound that has been there for 20 years or 30 years. Could be anything. It could be an abusive relationship, could be anything. I mean, it doesn't even have to be anything to do with a physical violation that causes people to do the things that they do. So I just thought I would give you a little idea or a look into more of what's happening now so you can better prepare yourself and those around you for all of these changes that are taking place now. And this too is part of restoration.
Yeah.
Sorry, you wanted DNA repair. Okay, you got it.
I ordered DNA repair. I didn't realize, you know, it's like praying for grace or not grace. Praying for patience. Don't do that.
Yeah. No.
Because everything's going to be sent your way to test your patience.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We'll show her how to get some. Life experience will show her.
Oh, boy. Well, and it also helps me when I'm going through difficult times to know that not only will I think and believe another door will open, but it is a learning experience. And I decided before I even came here that this was a good thing to do, right? That this was good for me. So when I put it in that perspective, I'm like, it's not always easy to go through, but you're going to be better on the other side for many different reasons. And I'd rather learn these lessons now and not have to do them again. I mean, we haven't released a segment yet, but Carrie Kay and I recorded a great little segment for New Earth about Earth School. That's probably the next one we're going to release, Earth School, and why we decided to come here and how it is a crash course to get us from here to here. And we all made that decision to be here for this exponential growth on this planet because it gives us so much. And not every being decides to do that because it's a lot. So everybody pat yourself on the back because you're here and you made this decision to go to Earth School, which is like I don't know, graduate school times 10 compared to other places. So it's okay. It's going to be okay. And I believe we're here at the best time to ever be here and to see this transition and to be actively part of it. So embrace it. You're here. You're not going anywhere. You might as well just embrace what you got and make the most out of it. So.
And you signed up for this. You can't blame me for that one. Sorry.
Right. That's right.
That was your decision.
Kids, you made your bed. Now you lie in your bed. It's the same thing.
And I've gone to bed saying to myself, speaking of bed, why did you do that?
I know. It's like, what was I thinking?
I know. Well, we have a breaking news report.
Sorry, I wasn't ready. Canada Post's recent decision to sell its in-house IT business. I don't know how to say that. No, it's okay. I just looked at it and nothing, just blank. Nothing was coming. Our world situation report reveals exactly what's happening on our planet and throughout the multiverse. And the prompter just switched on me, and now the text is going in the opposite direction. I'm really not sure what is going on today. Oh, little prompter. Oh, little prompter. Oh, come on. When in doubt, just sing your way through it.
And dance.
And dance.
Why not? Come on, Sonny, let's dance. No, I'm just kidding. But we did want to wish you a happy birthday. Let's see, how many ways can I say? Feliz cumpleaños. There we go, for some of our viewers. And how about Sa Niñong Rostinha for our Eastern European friends?
Okay.
But more importantly, our whole team would like to wish you the best day ever. And we hope you have a wonderful day. We did send you a little something from us to you.
Yes.
And from our heart, Sunny, you have brightened the news up more than you could possibly imagine. Your smile, everybody loves your smile. The news you're reading to us is amazing. All the ideas behind the scenes with the whole team. And we couldn't do this without you. So I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you for making Source's dream come true.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so beautiful. And I know some people have been sending me some well wishes, so thank you guys. My birthday's tomorrow, but we don't have the news tomorrow, so we're celebrating it today. Hubby and I are going out for dinner tomorrow, and I think the kids are making some sort of special dessert when we get back. So, and I have some other, it was good, you earlier talking about taking care of yourself, because I literally blocked off at least the majority of tomorrow before I have to work on scripts for Wednesday, and just to focus on myself. I have some things that I'm doing that's just, the kids are at school, husband's at work, and I'm just going to be focusing on me tomorrow. So 46, guys. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I plan on being on this planet for many, many, many years. So 46 seems like a drop in the bucket. So I'm all good with that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Own it, right?
Own it. Why not? I mean, we were just saying we have the ability to self-heal. Okay. Our bodies are incredible. Like, age should not even be a thing. That's a deep state thing. Okay. Get rid of that. Like,
it is actually.
I can't wait till I'm 546. So, I'm sure I've been it before in other lifetimes, so why not?
That's a lot of grandkids, Sonny. Grandkids, great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids.
That is a lot.
We're going to need a bigger table at Christmas.
I think so. Yeah, what are we going to do at that point? I don't know.
I don't know. Rent a farm or something. I'm not sure.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, thank you guys.
I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow, and we will see all of you on Wednesday.
Sounds good. Thank you. Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with friends and family. That's also where you'll find our UNN meme of the day, which is a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all of our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together. And that wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so we can help you share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.